Managing inflation. Inflation is one of the most significant threats to long-term wealth preservation because it gradually erodes purchasing power and reduces the real value of assets and income streams. For private clients, especially those with long investment horizons, inflation can undermine financial goals even when portfolios generate positive nominal returns. Wealth managers therefore focus on preserving real wealth rather than simply increasing nominal asset values. Effective inflation management requires understanding both expected inflation and unexpected inflation, as each influences investment performance differently. Inflation affects consumption patterns, retirement planning, wealth transfer objectives, and investment decisions. Consequently, protecting purchasing power is a central objective of comprehensive private wealth management and long-term financial planning. The impact of inflation varies across client circumstances and life stages. Retirees are often particularly vulnerable because they rely on fixed income streams and accumulated savings to support ongoing expenditures. Rising prices can significantly reduce living standards if income does not increase at a comparable rate. Younger investors may be better positioned to withstand inflation because employment income often grows over time and portfolios have longer periods to compound. However, inflation still affects future savings requirements and investment returns. Wealth managers assess client-specific inflation exposure by considering spending patterns, time horizons, liabilities, and sources of income. This analysis helps determine appropriate strategies for preserving purchasing power. Asset allocation plays a critical role in managing inflation risk. Growth-oriented assets such as equities have historically provided long-term protection against inflation because companies can often increase prices and revenues as costs rise. Real assets, including real estate, infrastructure, commodities, and natural resources, may also perform well during inflationary periods because their values tend to rise alongside general price levels. Inflation-linked bonds provide direct protection by adjusting principal and interest payments according to inflation measures. Wealth managers combine these asset classes to create diversified portfolios capable of maintaining real wealth. Strategic asset allocation therefore serves as one of the most effective defenses against the long-term effects of inflation. Unexpected inflation presents unique challenges because it can negatively affect traditional fixed-income investments. Bonds with fixed coupon payments lose purchasing power when inflation rises beyond expectations, resulting in lower real returns. Long-duration bonds are particularly sensitive because their future cash flows are more heavily affected by changing inflation expectations. Wealth managers address this risk by diversifying fixed-income holdings, incorporating inflation-linked securities, and adjusting portfolio duration according to economic conditions. The objective is to reduce sensitivity to inflation surprises while maintaining income generation and portfolio stability. Managing inflation risk within fixed income allocations is essential for preserving the overall effectiveness of wealth management strategies. Inflation management also requires integrating spending, withdrawal, and retirement planning decisions. Future liabilities such as healthcare expenses, education costs, and retirement spending often increase over time because of inflation. Wealth managers use inflation-adjusted cash flow projections to estimate future funding requirements accurately. Withdrawal strategies must account for rising living costs to ensure that retirement portfolios remain sustainable throughout extended retirement periods. Failing to incorporate realistic inflation assumptions may result in underestimating future capital needs and jeopardizing long-term objectives. By embedding inflation considerations into financial planning, advisors improve the reliability of projections and increase the probability of achieving client goals. Exchange rate risk and mitigation strategies. Exchange rate risk arises when assets, liabilities, income, or expenditures are denominated in different currencies. In an increasingly globalized financial environment, private clients frequently hold international investments, own foreign property, operate multinational businesses, or maintain family interests across multiple jurisdictions. Currency fluctuations can significantly affect portfolio returns, wealth preservation, and financial planning outcomes. Exchange rate movements influence both investment performance and purchasing power, creating additional uncertainty beyond traditional market risks. Wealth managers therefore assess currency exposure as part of a comprehensive risk management framework. Understanding exchange rate dynamics is particularly important for high net worth and ultra high net worth families with globally diversified assets and international financial obligations. Currency risk can arise in several forms. Transaction risk occurs when future payments or receipts are denominated in foreign currencies and exchange rates change before settlement. Translation risk affects the reported value of foreign assets and liabilities when expressed in a client's base currency. Economic risk refers to the broader impact of currency movements on wealth, purchasing power, and long-term financial outcomes. These exposures may influence investment returns, business profitability, and spending capacity. Wealth managers evaluate the magnitude and sources of currency risk within client portfolios and financial plans. Identifying the specific type of exposure is the first step toward implementing effective mitigation strategies. Diversification across currencies can provide an important natural hedge against exchange rate risk. Holding investments in multiple countries and currencies reduces dependence on the performance of any single currency. Because exchange rates do not always move together, diversified currency exposure may reduce overall portfolio volatility. Furthermore, global diversification expands investment opportunities and improves access to different economic growth drivers. However, diversification alone may not eliminate currency risk, particularly when clients have concentrated liabilities or spending needs in a specific currency. Wealth managers therefore assess whether natural diversification provides sufficient protection or whether more targeted risk management techniques are necessary. Currency hedging is a common strategy used to manage exchange rate risk. Hedging involves employing financial instruments such as forward contracts, futures, options, or currency swaps to offset the effects of unfavorable currency movements. The objective is not necessarily to eliminate all currency exposure, but to reduce uncertainty and align portfolio risks with client objectives. Hedging decisions depend on factors such as investment horizon, cost considerations, risk tolerance, and the nature of underlying exposures. While hedging can reduce volatility, it may also limit potential gains from favorable currency movements and introduce additional expenses. Wealth managers must therefore evaluate costs and benefits carefully before implementing hedging strategies. Effective exchange rate risk management requires integrating currency considerations into broader wealth planning decisions. Clients with international lifestyles, foreign business interests, cross-border family structures, or multi-jurisdictional assets often face complex currency exposures. Wealth managers analyze future spending needs, asset locations, tax implications, and liability structures to determine appropriate currency strategies. In some cases, maintaining exposure to foreign currencies supports diversification and purchasing power protection. In others, active hedging may be necessary to safeguard financial objectives. By combining diversification, strategic asset allocation, and selective hedging, advisors help clients manage exchange rate uncertainty, preserve wealth across jurisdictions, and improve the stability of long-term financial plans.